way that the trial proceeds. Firstly are the opening arguments by the prosecutor, and then by the defendant if such a person is present in the court. The adjudicator and public prosecutor have a chance to question both of these, both sides, and if the defendant is not there, the trial commences with the opening argument, and there is a counsel, a defence counsel, who will argue on the part of the defendant who isn't there. So if your local council or BP or, you know, Krakata or anybody like that is on trial, then the defence counsel will argue on their behalf. I imagine as enthusiastically as they possibly can.
They don't want to turn up for the hearing,
It is, but they have to have someone to stand in and speak their defence as far as it is possible. That's right. Then after that, the lawyer for the prosecution goes into the detail and talks about it a lot more and makes an argument. And that's the bit you see in all the films where they get really dramatic and say, these people have done terrible damage and it affects you and you and you. You know, that's the emotive bit. That's the bit we all wait for, isn't it? And then the defendant, if they're there, is given a chance to respond. And then if they decide to respond, they are then open to cross-examination. I think they're not open to cross-examination if they're not there, are they?
Well, no.
So, you know, this is where the defence of silence comes in. They can be there and refuse to talk and you can't question them. But if they have said anything, then they're open to being cross-examined and you might catch them out on something. So that's when court becomes like a game of chess. It can be quite fun. All right, in the final stages, the adjudicator, who remember is running the court, making sure it's right, has the chance to ask any further questions in order to clarify things and to give final advice to the jury on how they may lawfully deal with this case. Like, you know, you mustn't accept that bribe you've just been offered and things like that. The lawyer and the defendant give their closing summary to the court. The adjudicator then speaks to the jury and tells them what are the lawful relevances in this particular case, but does not direct them how to make their decision, because they are the power in the court. So the jury retires, not allowed any contact with anyone else during this time, and they sit and discuss until they have agreed unanimously on what needs to be done. They come back into court, tell the court what is their verdict, and the court is adjourned, and the adjudicator instructs for the verdict to be enforced by the peace officers and sheriffs. All of this is on record, beautifully on record. It's a public document and accessible to everybody who wants it. Right? So it's a permanent record, which makes this technically a court of record. And when it's done, I think you must press the court so that it's sealed and it cannot be reopened. So there's no court of appeal after this. This is a final judgment.
Common law court, there is no appeal. It's always very carefully to begin with, so there's no chance for appeal.
So the judgment is issued by the jury, not the judge.
That's right.
Yes. No, it's decided by the jury. It may be stated by the judge.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
the jury make the decision. And when the judge issues the words, then it is impressed as a court of record and sealed, and that is the end of the matter. So by deciding to elect to go to trial by jury, you accept there is no recourse if you're not happy with the verdict. Right? I think that's a really important principle to understand. You are submitting yourselves, or the defendant is submitting themselves to judged by their peers. Yeah. And once they've been judged, that's it. There is no higher judgment anywhere except under God. So that's your lot.
Who better to judge your actions than the people around you that know you anyway?
Exactly. So there ended the first part. That's actually what we're going to be doing this afternoon, is talking more about the different roles that you can take in court. But first of all, what I want to do is ask Rhiann to explain to us all, firstly, the formal notice of warrant to deputise, right? How we get to have court officers. So I will ask questions and Rhiann will answer them, and then after that, if you have questions yourself, please feel free to ask them. Is that all right? Okay, so what you said is this is a formal notice of the warrant to deputise our authority to set up people who are going to be officers of the court.
That's right.
Now, what is the process in which you do that, Leanne?
You need to establish. Alright, you need to let people know what's going on. Basically, you have the right to do this anyway. So you need to go and tell the police, tell the local community, tell the council, tell the judges, tell everybody that you possibly can. You are deputising them. You have acted upon your right to lawful rebellion, isn't it? And then, well, that's it basically. That's what you've done. You've acted on that, and you're deputising them as you're watching them, and they now work for you on your side. They can't get in your way, or you will prosecute them with the court. Yeah.
Do you have to show them any form of identification?
Sorry?
Do you have to show them any form of identification?
You show the badges, or you know the declaration that you've signed, or the court one as well. Yeah, those three are your identification. Yeah.
If you're deputising somebody, do they need to make an
Because they're going to
application?
believe I was alone.
Yeah. And do they need to give any evidence of being a person in good standing in the community?
No. What, like official officers? The thing is that they're all working for a separate system. We don't.
I mean our court officers.
Do our court officers?
Our sheriffs, our police officers, do they need to give any evidence to us of being a person in good standing?
They need to record every action that they take, yes. Video record every action that they're taking. That's the only thing that you have to do to show that you're behaving correctly, and they're the ones in the wrong at the end of the day. We've taken back our right, that's
right. Are we going to ask any undertaking from them, sign and witness, about how they're going to perform their duties?
the sheriffs and
police officers and officers of the court.
We could put something together that would explain that.
Is there a feeling here in the room?
Yeah. Can I just ask the question about deputising these people? Because they've already sworn an oath, you know, will our deputisation of them overrule their oath?
They swore an oath to keep the peace. That's it. If you read the police officer's oath,
Yes.
it's to keep the peace. Yeah.
Okay, so under that we do have the power.
They're not keeping the peace.
No, they're enforcing law. They're enforcing law on us.
Different, wasn't it?
Police officer.
Yeah, there's a distinction between police
Without an
officer.
enforcer.
Can we go through
Yeah,
this one by one?
policeman.
If I want to become a
Yeah,
police
there's a
officer with
distinction.
you, the court, how do I go about it? What's the procedure?
You contact me, I'll sign your You contact me, you sign the documents, therefore you sign to the court. You've said that you elect the court to be, you're under the court's jurisdiction, so you're under the common law jurisdiction, and that's it really, that's it. Everybody is expected to be a peace officer, everybody in the community, everybody is expected to go out and stand up for their own rights. You know, you can't just hide in your little house and expect everybody else to stand up for your rights, you have to stand up for your own. That's the only way it can be done, yeah?
Yeah, fantastic. Nice answer.
Put your foot down.
I'm trying to be nice, mate. You've got to say the point
And is it the same if I want to apply to you to become a sheriff?
Sheriffs are elected by their local community, so if you apply to me to be a sheriff and you're the first one in your area, say, okay, you can be the sheriff for your area, yeah? You build up your team, you build up your police officers. If they say, oh well, our sheriff's done something wrong, we're not happy with them being sheriff anymore, then they have the right to bring that to a hearing. You all have a good old talk about it, and the outcome is the outcome. Whatever's decided is decided, isn't it? That's how it all works. We all must work together. It's not about any one person standing up and saying, I'm the boss of all of you now, you know? It's not about that. Everybody works together to make sure that everything goes best in the community. That is it.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Do we get battles and pepper spray?
You can use whatever weapons you like.
Can I just add, it might be quite daunting for some people to become police officers, or to be police officers in their own area, even support their own cause, whatever that may be. I've got bailiffs, Jim. So, is there some way or formal way that we can, there's a support network amongst other peace officers that we can call on for just support, really,
In
Is that through the
Coventry
internet?
doing pretty well for people to be running around to people's houses and stuff like that. For instant support, that's good. I've set up, well, my phone number is like the Sheriff's Office of Coventry, so if anybody is in trouble like that and they've already signed with us, they're already part of our group, then we'll be straight at their house, trust me, if there's anything comes up like that.
So can we give you our phone numbers?
Can
Can we give you our mobile phone numbers and say, right, call me if
Yes,
somebody wants
please.
support?
I was going to ask everybody to leave their contact details when they leave, and I was going to send this pack. You leave, you know, your telephone, whatever contact details will come through, and I'll keep them all safe. Okay, so that's it. Everybody on all mobile.
It's just a show of strength, really.
Exactly. It's a show that people are standing together. I was explaining when we went to the church. Every time we've gone out and we've gone and hit the police with these documents, we've hit the church with documents, we've always taken different people. Like, first time it was us, weren't it? Then the next time it was me and him and some different people, wasn't it? Little John, yeah. Every time we've gone, it's all different people. They're thinking now, how many people have these people got? When we went to the church, it was a whole other group of different people. So they're thinking, oh my goodness, they're all from Coventry. You know, they have to be concerned. Because at the end of the day, there's so many people standing against them, and they're being watched. They're the ones that are doing wrong, and they're the ones that are being watched by all of us.
But Coventry is an ideal place to start anyway, because it's smack bang
In the centre, yeah, we did say that.
So in order to support what you're doing, if we leave our details, is there some way you can text us, right, this action's on, performing this action on this day,
Yeah,
this
that's
time?
great. That's a good idea, yeah. That is good, yeah.
I'm not on Facebook.
We can do a message, email, and Facebook or something like that, all three. Message, email, and Facebook. Yeah? Then everyone gets it. And the website. Put it on the website.
Is there any possibility to get the police officer to enforce the duty that they're actually signed off for as part of that?
Getting the police officer to enforce
The police, you know, those officers who we support to be paid.
That's the whole idea. That's what we've got to promote these people.
They don't actually know their role.
Yeah,
They don't know their
They
role.
don't understand the law. They don't understand what their role is in the community. They've been taught this and taught that. They've watched people treat people badly, and they've just carried on learning the same thing.
Like this
When it
gentleman
comes
said,
down to it, that isn't even their law.
they were policemen. They were policemen, and then changed the title to police officers. Policemen uphold the law. Police officers enforce law upon us. And that's the difference. They did it. They did that quite. They were quite smart with that.
So
The way
we
they did
police
that.
officers, we take people and we
Yeah.
balance it out. We listen to both sides of it.
And they'll read you rights, and they'll tell you, do you understand? Yeah. Do you stand under us? Because we want to have power over you. You never understand.
You had a question.
I'm sorry I stepped out, so maybe this has been answered already, but in terms of people representing themselves as the accused party, is there any way or any provision for people to be represented? For example, if someone's got mental health issues or they're underage to...
The layman.
We're all a community, everybody helps each other. So what you do is you say to the court, I need somebody to help with this matter, and then they would find somebody to help with that matter. That's how it works. We've all got to look after each other, you know. I've got contacts with people that know all the law and the legal side of things. Not legal, but lawful side of things. Sorry, I do apologise. So I can put people into contact with these people that can help.
There is an aspect of courts
Hello, Henley.
which is justice should be tempered with mercy. And because we're not being a really combative system that's trying to suck money out of people, we can listen to both sides sympathetically. And I think it's a whole different feel from this adversarial, really nasty, vindictive court we've been having.
Can I just continue the question? If the person or persons that were being accused were more wealthy and powerful under the current system than the court, how would enforcement be sought generally?
Enforcement sought through the people.
You have to instruct the police, can't you?
So it won't sting them.
Yeah, it's probably easier. I mean, we've got a tow truck, they've got some nice cars parked outside, you know, go and get on with it.
Can't you instruct the police?
We set up our own bailiffs, we set up our own courts, we set up everything.
I'll
We've got
put
the
questions,
ones
yeah.
to do it.
Got 2 trucks already.
Yeah.
Got 2 trucks already.
Can we take questions on?
Sorry.
This is just a procedural suggestion. Can I suggest that we start passing this round for people to put their contact details,
Yeah, I
email
suppose
and
it would
name
be
on?
quicker.
And if given back, I'll attempt to copy it all onto a spreadsheet so that it can be checked that everybody's email address is correct before we go. Because often you find that one person can't read Nanda's writing nowadays. Is that a good idea?
That's a good idea. If you want a court roll, please put that in as well. You were number 2, I think.
One very, very valid point. Can we get away from calling ourselves persons and people?
Okay, done. You were next, I think.
Yeah, my question was, what would the court do if the defendant, or the proposed defendant, refuses consent to appear?
Then the court carries on, the trial carries on without that.
So you're going to convict in absentia?
Yeah. They will have had the full process. I've been informed that the trial is going to take place. Just the same as the court said to us now, isn't it?
And if the defendant then refused to appear, you convict in absentia, what sanctions would you impose on a defendant that didn't take the opportunity to defend
we leave
himself?
that until after this, because this is about court procedures.
Yeah, well, the court
and I think
procedure
we need to discuss the subject of what
see, it
penalties
falls
we
on
can
its
impose
place
a bit
if
later
the defendant doesn't appear. I mean, you're assuming consent.
Well, it is.
You have to have.
We're just talking about the procedure.
We make sure that the defendant's being told about the court case and everything. So if they don't turn up, then we can convict them. Yeah.
Your court is a community court. If that defendant doesn't feel part and parcel of the community, for example,
that's why we send it to local areas.
You might have a difficulty in persuading somebody who considers themselves an outsider.
Remoteness you're talking about.
Yeah, I think the whole, don't get me wrong, I think the whole idea is brilliant, what you're proposing. I really am very supportive of the idea. But you have no sanction to cause appearance, if you see what I mean. And I think that it's something that you ought to discuss, because...
Doesn't the sanction to cause appearance go on the claim that's been made?
No, if one claimant makes a claim against another, a defendant, for example, and that defendant simply says, I'm not prepared to entertain your court. Unless you have discussed in detail that possibility. And it's something that perhaps we should consider.
Regularly.
Yeah, because people could just walk away and say, sorry, go away. It's something that this forum is ideal to address.
People can do that to any court. We're not there to force people to come to court.
Well, that's
But they're made to know that a decision has been made in their absence.
All I'm doing is putting forward
A jurisdictional
a
issue.
question that you perhaps like to address.
But surely, if you're, if you're stepping on the land of England, you're automatically surrendering yourself to the common law jurisdiction, which is the jurisdiction of the entire land.
Yeah, England is common law jurisdiction. That's right.
Exactly.
So the remoteness, the question of remoteness, as in...
It isn't remoteness because it's all the same.
It's all the same
We're
issue.
all in the same jurisdiction, and all the courts should work together to set precedents for the cases and stuff like that. That's how it works, isn't it?
Just the question on the sheriff, and I'll come on to the police. The sheriff is appointed by nomination by the group, and the group then affirms the appointment. That's correct, isn't it?
Yes.
Right. And is there a period of notice that has to be, I mean, do you say amongst people, we're going to, in a month's time, you're going to have a meeting and then nominations have to come in?
I would expect regular meetings to be held at least once a month within the local group. Those who attend will be notified of any changes, and all of that sort of thing needs to be set out properly, yes.
Okay. And the other thing about the enforcement that people have been talking about, am I correct in assuming that once the jury has issued the judgment, the police, the standard police, have to assist?
Yes.
They have an option to assist.
They have an option. Only an option.
You give them the option.
If they don't, then they can be prosecuted.
That's up to them. But as long as we inform them what we're about to go and do as peace officers, bailiffs, so on and so forth, yeah, That's our job.
If they don't
No.
assist, that's their
They won't
choice.
assist.
Well, what can you do
Yeah.
about enforcement then?
Sorry?
But as police officers, can they, as peace officers, no, the police, I'm talking about the police.
Excuse me, can I just say, if they don't assist, then there's nothing we can do. We can go ahead as peace officers and do what we have to do. Yeah, do what we have to do. Yeah. If they interfere with that, then they get prosecuted. Okay. Yeah.
Because of
it's
a common law jurisdiction.
That's right.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, because they have to, don't they?
Because also with the police, as peace officers, we can make citizens' arrests.
Yes, that's right. Anybody can make a citizen's
Yeah,
arrest.
exactly. So if we make a citizen's arrest, then the police
Have to take
can
them in.
record and they have to take
That's
them in.
right. That is
So we
right,
can
yeah.
use that
Use
system.
them. Yeah, we can use
for
their
our
system
benefit.
for our own benefit. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
What if it's a police officer that you have to arrest?
All the more fun.
They're not going to take that line down, are they?
No, like I say, we have to build our numbers, but it is possible. Imagine if 20 people went to arrest an officer that had been convicted of an assault, yeah? They can arrest him and take him to the police station, right? It's a possibility.
In addition to that, just to support what you're saying, you wouldn't be arresting a police officer. You would be arresting a man who happens to be.
Exactly,
You see, the
exactly. A police officer is nothing, it's just a man.
The policeman only,
A man that's done wrong.
If he's trying to enforce statutes on me, say, yeah, then
the policeman can only work under his warrant card. That's
You
his
can't
only
arrest him
jurisdiction. Otherwise,
trying to
if it doesn't,
enforce
if that warrant card doesn't recognise a criminal jurisdiction, i.e. going through a red traffic light, a policeman sees somebody drive through a red traffic light, it's a criminal which allows him to act. If he can't do anything else unless it contravenes criminal law. Otherwise, he's just an individual person that is subject to the common law.
Yeah, I think this gentleman, he won't stand up and say it, so I'll say it. He's put the, he's hit the nail on the head. Police officer is a uniform. If you've got no problem against that human being behind the uniform, then that's what you're doing. You're making a complaint about the human being behind the act.
It's irrespective if he wears a uniform. If he's broke the law, you go after the man, not the uniform.
Exactly. Everyone's equally common. We're all the same. We're all in our
This is
character.
turning into a bit of a free for
Yes.
all. Do you want to stop for a general discussion, or do you want to carry on doing the...
I don't mind, everybody seems good. Is everyone good? I don't know. Does everyone want to chill out? I'm good.
Do you know, one more.
Yeah, everyone should get them. Everyone's got to get the questions out, haven't they?
How long, if somebody wants to take information, how long does it take the whole process, roughly?
The whole process for what, sorry? I can't hear you now.
How long does the whole process take?